All right. Welcome to Lawrence Livermore National Lab's 9th Annual Research SLAM. That is an applause line. Yes, thank you. All right. My name is Ted Bauman. I'm the lead for the Institutional Postdoc Program. And on behalf of the Academic Engagement Office, we're thrilled to have all of you here with us today. Before we get started, a quick reminder to please silence your cell phones. All right, so how are we feeling? Just give me a temperature in the room. Right. That was a test for the MCs. They got a little work to do, but we'll get this going. So, all right, okay, so I'm going to hand this over to the MCs in just a minute, but I wanted to say a few things about this event before I hand it over to them. So, especially for those of you who are joining us for the first time. The Research SLAM really is one of the cornerstone events for the postdocs here at the lab. This event not only gives the postdocs a chance to showcase their research to a broader audience, but it also allows them to develop the critical skill of science communication. Specifically, the ability to effectively communicate to a non-expert or a non-technical person what makes their research both impactful and exciting. And this is a really valuable skill that will serve them well as they go forward in their career. And because of that, I'm going to use this opportunity because I see some postdocs in the audience here. If you've ever been curious about this event, I strongly encourage you to register for next year's SLAM. Talk to past participants, because there's a few here, including our MCs, or talk to our finalists this year. I think they'll tell you what a valuable experience participating in the SLAM was. Let's see. An event like this, an event of this caliber, doesn't happen without a lot of help from people behind the scenes. So I'm going to mention a few people here. First and foremost, Michelle Perez Robles. She worked diligently for months and months, keeping us on track here. She's our logistics expert, and none of this happens without her. So just to give you an idea how much work this is, she's already working on 2026 SLAM. Now, we haven't even finished 2025. All right, another person I wanted to thank is our in-house coach, Stephanie Terza, here. She's done an amazing job coaching up all of our finalists, and I sit in those training sessions with envy at the skill she has in communicating actionable and constructive feedback in just short order. So I try to adopt some of her techniques, not successfully, but anyway, Stephanie, thank you so much. We also want to congratulate one of our judges, Doug Rotman, on his well-deserved retirement. Doug is going off into retirement. November, okay. So Doug's been a consistent champion of the postdoc program. In this event specifically, and is this 4th or 5th year that you've judged? 5th, yeah. So Doug, thank you so much and congratulations. We also want to acknowledge a valued member of the AV team here at the lab, Robin Dooley-Martin, who sadly passed away over the summer. But it was her involvement in the SLAM early on that's made this event what it is today. So we want to acknowledge Robin. All right, lastly, because nobody came here to hear me talk, I'm just going to say one more thing. The event today is part of a larger ecosystem within the Research SLAM world. So I'll just give you some context, what's at stake today, besides bragging rights and cash, the top 3 finalists are going to represent Livermore in the Bay Area Research SLAM, competing against the top 3 finalists of top 3 Research SLAM finalists from the other 3 local national labs. So that's Berkeley National Lab, we got Berkeley here with us, Sandia National Lab, and SLAC at Stanford. So that's going to be October 23rd, and the hosting institution rotates on that, and this year it is Berkeley hosting, so it'll be in Berkeley. And then our winner today will represent Livermore at the 3rd Annual National Lab Research SLAM in Washington, D.C. in the spring of 2026. So that's what's going to happen here going forward. So just for a few of these, this is just the beginning of this process. So, all right, with that, enough of me. I'm going to hand this over to our MCs. two people who know all too well about the Research SLAM world, Nicholas Cross and Claire Duty.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the future.
But wait, the theme is retrofuturism, so isn't that also kind of like the past?
Oh yeah, you're right. I got it.
Okay.
All right, one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the past version of the future. Which is also kind of like right now, if you think about it.
And what's happening right now is the 2025 Research SLAM. Woo!
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for traveling through space and time to be here with us today in Building 123. My name is Nicholas. I'm a third-year postdoc in the Computational Engineering Division. Unfortunately, I'm going to be the only person up on the stage representing the engineering directorate today. So to all the other engineering postdocs out there in the audience, I'm not mad. I'm just a little disappointed.
And my name is Claire. I'm a third-year postdoc in the Atmospheric Earth and Energy Division, and I'll be one of many people from PLS you'll be hearing from today. Yeah, PLS. Gotta get the engineering hype up a little bit. But yeah, well, right before we start, Nicholas, do you have any last words of advice for our contestants?
I would tell them not to put too much pressure on it. You're gonna get up on stage, you're gonna give your slam, get off, and you're not gonna remember a single thing that happened. So as long as you're up here for about 2.5 minutes and you're like moderately coherent, that is a resounding success. How about you, Claire?
I think I would tell the contestants to breathe. But just in case anything happens, we are certified doctors of philosophy. So we'll be ready to go with the defibrillators to bring you back.
Oh, I don't actually remember the next line.
That's okay. Hey, we're not being judged on whether we remember our lines today or not.
So, yes, any postdoc in the 2025 calendar year was eligible to participate in this year's SLAM. And the competition is the same as every year, where each postdoc will have 3 minutes to present their work and why it is important. And they have a single static slide for reference.
Aside from making it easier to tell their grandparents about what it is they do all day here at the lab, the SLAM also helps develop scientific communication skills that will serve the contestants well in many walks of their scientific life, from conference presentations to everyone's favorite activity, grant writing.
And I can say from personal experience that it might make people kind of at the lab like look at you a little funny and say like, oh, why do you look familiar? And I just say, I don't know, and then I run away as fast as possible. So each participant will be scored on 6 different categories: intellectual significance, individual contribution, clarity, delivery, visuals, and engagement.
Cash prizes for the first 3 places will be voted on by our esteemed panel of judges, who we'll introduce momentarily.
Also, you all in the audience will have the opportunity to choose a winner of your own. The person with the most votes from the audience members will win the People's Choice Award, which is also awarded a cash prize.
Today's top finalist will be representing Livermore at the National SLAM, happening in early spring of 2026. The top 3 finalists will also compete at the Bay Area National SLAM from the other top 3 competitors from Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, the Stanford Linear Accelerator, and from the Sandias Livermore campus.
So the Bay Area SLAM is a mostly friendly competition, but the Livermore team did win the trophy last year, so no extra pressure, but we want to keep it. Yeah.
It's big and shiny and really cool.
So before we got to today's event, we had to shortlist the finalists from an even bigger pool to the one that we have today. And so we'd like to quickly thank our panel of preliminary round judges. So if you all are in the audience anywhere, please stand up and give a nice little wave, even if you don't want to. They are Enrica Balboni, Ted Bauman, Jennifer Treblek, Monica Moya, Sarah Osborne, and Megan Smith.
And for today's event, we would like to introduce our esteemed panel of judges. Judges, please stand up and give a little wave when we say your name. First, we have Pat Balconi, who's the Deputy Director of Science and Technology at the lab. Bill Goldstein was supposed to be here today, but unfortunately he fell ill and wasn't able to join us. Micah Lowenthal, the Director of Science and Technology Institution and Visual Assessment at Lawrence Livermore. We have Bob Powell, who is the chair of the Science and Technology Committee of the LINS Board and also a distinguished professor emeritus at UC Davis. We have Dustin Riggs, the chief protocol officer at the lab. And finally, we have Doug Brotman, the director of the Laboratory Directed Research and Development Program at Livermore. One day I'll be able to say that right.
All right, now it's about time to bring up our finalists. Unfortunately, one of them has fallen ill, so we only have 11 with us today, but we wish Sumita a very speedy recovery from COVID. And so this cohort, they've been working around the clock.
And they probably wish they had a little bit more time to go back and practice by now.
But they can't. So let's bring up our first speaker.
Our first speaker will be lighting the way in the unknown. Please welcome Rigoberto Moncada to tell us about solving flow in spongy rock mazes.
We're all lost in a vast and dark labyrinth, our incoming energy crisis. It's as if our country is stuck and vulnerable in this labyrinth, only with an empty oil lantern. Empty as in constant power blackouts, more expensive gas and electricity, and failing energy infrastructure. And we have oil to light our lantern, but it is trapped inside a rock. Rocks contain millions of voids and cracks through which fluids can move. This ease of flow property is called permeability, and it is the key to solve our predicament. With permeability, we can extract oil, natural gas, and hot steam to produce energy, or store carbon dioxide and methane underground, or detect radioactive gas leaks from covert nuclear testing by adversary nations. All of these applications involve underground blasts and complex fractures that make permeability very hard to predict with conventional methods. Most models deal with rocks like black boxes. They try to fit permeability data using experimental results, but they don't really understand rock physics under extreme conditions. Instead, the solution is to map crack geometry changes to permeability evolution by visualizing rocks as spongy mazes in 3D. We can squeeze rocks like sponges, open and close their cracks, controlling flow. These cracks are connected like a maze, directing flow. If the maze is easy to solve, we say that the material is highly permeable. At the lab, our computational geosciences group simulates rock mechanics and flow. In my case, I'm developing a theoretical model using the spongy maze philosophy and penny-shaped cracks to predict permeability evolution under dynamic conditions. I simulate how changes in crack opening, length, and orientation affect this permeability. Then, I combine my model with the lab's in-house code, Geodyne, and our supercomputers to create full 3D permeability maps. These maps are more comprehensive and predictive than any existing alternatives. Finally, we have achieved solving flow in spongy rock mazes. And if we can predict permeability, we can engineer it, providing a bright lantern to navigate our energy crisis and exit this labyrinth.
Wonderful job, Rigo. Thank you for lighting the way for us through this dark labyrinth.
Since this is a competition, our judges need some time to deliberate on their scores. So in between each contestant, we've prepared some exciting trivia and a little bit, some performances as well to entertain you guys while the judges deliberate.
So how it will work is that we'll show the trivia question up on the board here, and one of us is going to read it out loud. The other one is going to be monitoring the audience for you to raise your hand as fast as possible, because you're going to know these answers like instantaneously, we guarantee it. And then once we're done reading the question, then we'll call on you for your answer.
Yeah. And we don't have mics, unfortunately, and so we'll have you yell it out as loud as you can. So it'll be nice and embarrassing when you're wrong, but if you get it right, you'll win a prize. We ready? Woo!
Oh, what the heck? Come on. Are you ready? There it is. Thank you. All right. First question. What does RAP stand for, and why would you find this LLNL group at a San Francisco 49ers football game? Way in the back there. It's so dark.
Yes.
Wonderful stuff.
Yes, perfect. Well
Good
done.
job.
Yes. Woo! Yes, so RAP stands for the Radiologic Assistance Program, and you'd find them at a 49ers game helping with emergency response operations. For all the 49er fans in the audience today, unfortunately, Brock Purdy's turf toe and his left shoulder injury don't really count as emergency response operations. RAP is helping out with some things that are a little bit more dire.
Alrighty. Now it's time for us to learn about the language of life. Please welcome to the stage Joe Joachim, who will be telling us about how he is deciphering the language of life safely.
Picture a technology so powerful it could end a pandemic or be misused to start the next one. A technology that could design a cure for cancer or give adversaries the blueprints to a bioweapon. How would we balance our drive for discovery with our need for safety? This is a dilemma that we face in the midst of an artificial intelligence revolution. On the timescale of years, or even just months, we've seen major advances in a model's ability to read, interpret, and write human-like text. A subclass of models called biological language models, or bio-LMs, have emerged. Bio-LMs are learning to understand DNA as if it were a language. In doing so, they're deciphering syntax and semantics shaped by more than 3.5 billion years of evolution. If unchecked, bio-LMs could provide strangers with immediate access to curated, harmful biological information. And unfortunately, the demand for this information is very real. Each day, AI models receive tens of millions of requests for harmful data. For this reason, companies like OpenAI, Meta, and Google are investing billions of dollars into detecting and shutting down harmful requests before they are answered. However, biological language models, which are largely products of academic laboratories, they tend to be underserved in the field of safe AI. It is critical that the national labs fill this safety gap before it is exploited by adversaries. Here at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, I'm leveraging high-performance computing, artificial intelligence, and a wealth of DNA sequence data to probe critical safety considerations relating to bio-LMs. Using custom benchmarks, I'm evaluating how bio-LMs function under the hood and how we can constrain them to safe applications. In case my safeguards are bypassed, I'm training bio-LMs to detect novel pathogens in the environment so we can prevent potential attacks from becoming outbreaks. When successful, my work will ensure that we maintain robust resistance to this emerging technology. Bio-LMs are deciphering the language of life, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. However, it is critical that our safeguards stay ahead of these models so they won't be misused to cause harm. With world-class computing resources and a wealth of scientific expertise, Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory stands to be a global leader in certifying the safety of bio-LMs. Together, we can make sure that the next AI-driven discovery is remembered for saving lives and not endangering them.
Arigato, Joe, for keeping us safe from biologic doom.
Up next, we'd like to bring up someone to the stage who has had some past success at Research SLAMs. Please welcome Brandon Zimmerman.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, welcome to the stage, Brandon.
It's exciting to be up here without lines to give.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier. So what would you say was the most rewarding part for you about participating in the Research SLAM?
So there's two parts to this, and the first one's a little corny, and I promise I'm not saying it because I'm sitting by one of the guys, but the cohort that you spend your time with at the lab, because you do a lot of training and practice over a month-long period to get up to the stage, and those just become some of your closest friends at the lab for the remainder of your postdoc, and then hopefully onto your staff career.
For sure. And then so you also participated in the first inaugural National Slam in DC back in 2023. What was that experience like for you?
The National Slam was incredible. We got to spend a week in DC, both getting personalized training, and we got to meet a couple congressmen and some senators who work on various committees that control some of the funding to the national labs. So we got to hear about how they prioritize different aspects related to, say, their districts or their states, and how they're trying to ensure that we keep having funding for the future generation of scientists. And then I got to present in the congressional auditorium to a bunch of congressmen and their aides, and that was also a huge rush.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really cool. Well, thank you so much, Brandon.
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate you joining us again.
Hey, Claire, do you feel a little bit of a breeze coming in?
I think I do. You know what? I think it's our next contestant, Adam Wise, to tell us about modeling urban flows. The answer is blowing in the wind.
5 years ago, the sky in the San Francisco Bay Area turned orange. That day was caused by wildfire smoke and was especially bad because it affected a major urban area. 80% of people in the United States live in urban areas, which makes it critical to understand how particles, things like wildfire smoke and pollutants, or in really bad situations, things like chemicals and nuclear fallout, how those particles move throughout an urban area. To model these particles, we use supercomputers to predict how the wind blows. We have coarse resolution models that are fast, but they don't directly represent buildings, which makes them less accurate at the urban scale, which is where people actually live. We have more accurate, high-resolution models that directly represent buildings, but the problem is they're slow, which makes them less useful for an emergency. For emergency response, we need a model that is both fast and accurate. Enter the Graphics Processing Unit, or GPU. GPUs, which were originally developed for video games and computer graphics, are actually really useful for scientific programming and atmospheric modeling. Our group, as part of NARAC, the National Atmospheric Release Advisory Center, have been developing an atmospheric model designed to run specifically on GPUs to take advantage of the fastest supercomputers in the world here at Livermore, enabling simulations to run up to 100 times faster than before. My job has been to add a method to our atmospheric model to represent buildings and their walls. The way that I've represented the buildings has resulted in the most accurate urban atmospheric modeling tool out there. So our tool is not only fast, but also very accurate. We're gaining further understanding of how particles move in and around cities on an unprecedented spatial scale, from downtowns to the suburbs, all because of how fast our tool is. In the future, if there's another orange day caused by wildfire smoke, or if maybe there's something worse in the air, like nuclear fallout, we'll be ready for the emergency response to quickly and accurately inform decision makers how to use their resources in order to save lives.
Thanks, Adam. That talk really blew us away. So another event that the lab puts on is something called Lab's Got Talent. And so we thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of a crossover episode between the SLAM and the Lab's Got Talent. So we have a couple of our talented lab members that are going to give a non-SLAM style performance for us today. The first one is going to be Stephen Brill, who's going to be showing us a little bit about his juggling skills. Get on up here, Stephen.
Hello, and up until a couple weeks ago, I was a postdoc too. Unfortunately, I didn't enter the SLAM this year because I had a few too many things in the air at the time. But now that I'm here on stage and that the rules of no props doesn't apply to me, I'm here to tell you about my research developing computational methods for multi-material flows for applications such as inertial confinement fusion and targeted drug delivery. Now, I work on a class of methods called high-order methods. And these methods maintain a high order of accuracy, and sometimes they're a little unstable, but maintain a high degree of accuracy through precise computations and careful consideration of the numerics. For multi-material flows, I treat the interfaces as smooth between the different materials in order to maintain this high order accuracy. Now, traditionally in the literature, people consider materials that are relatively similar to one another, similar densities and equations of state. And they take advantage of this in their simulations to maintain this accuracy. But they're restricted to relatively simple flows. However, I've taken care to develop methods to simulate materials of vastly different properties, different densities and equations of state. I do this by transporting the material energies separately from one another so that you can appreciate the unique properties of each of those materials. But it doesn't stop there. I've also, in the academic literature, most people only consider 2 different types of materials. But I've taken special care to consider 3 or more different types of materials when developing my method. And this enables us to study problems that have never been before studied with these high-order methods. For example, the problem of targeted drug delivery, where the drug is suspended inside in a bubble, transported throughout the body, and then released at the point of attack. So, in conclusion, my research developing high-order methods has shown that carefully considering the nice properties of each material can have some surprisingly good results, like combining juggling with a computational physics talk. Thank you.
Great job.
Thanks so much, Stephen. That sounds incredibly complex.
Well, let's give Stephen one more round of applause. Woo! So Stephen's juggling was awesome, but our next contestant is juggling something even cooler. Or maybe hotter. You'll have to ask her. Please welcome Rakia Dowie to tell us about the story a fireball leaves behind.
A nuclear fireball erupts. In a heartbeat, it burns hotter than the sun, forming plasma from leftover bomb fragments, fission products, and everything it swallows up. Then it flash cools, rising into a towering mushroom cloud. As the fireball fades, elements snatch oxygen from the air, react, and harden into fallout. Radioactive particles whose size, shape, and chemistry decide how far they travel, how fast they spread, and how long they remain a danger. Answers first responders need now. But many fallout models still rely on decades-old assumptions, treating fireball chemistry as simple and steady. It isn't. Inside, hot gases churn with debris, temperatures plunge, and in that chaos, the chemistry flips, weakening hazard predictions right when they matter most. Now, we can't ignite nuclear fireballs to study them. So at Lawrence Livermore, our team developed the plasma flow reactor, a lab-scale setup that recreates their tremendous heat and rapid cool down. In my role, I create controlled miniature fireballs from different mixtures of key elements and debris. I inject those into a white-hot plasma stream where they transform into a mini fireball. As those fireballs mix and cool, I track which gases form and study the fallout particles left behind using powerful electron microscopes. Step by step, I map where the chemistry goes off script and where our current models fail. Here's what I found. Elements and oxygen don't always play by the rules. Certain metals routinely form temporary, unexpected states that reshape how dangerous fallout becomes. And I've shown that the way a fireball cools sculpts the particles themselves. into glassy dust light enough to ride the wind, or heavy crystalline clumps that drop fast but linger in the environment. Each form writes a different ending, changing how we respond and how we protect. By recreating fireballs in the lab, we get to trade assumptions for measurements, sharpening the models that guide emergency response. A fireball's story is written in its fallout. At Livermore, we're uncovering that story, one mini fireball at a time, so that if the unthinkable happens, our responders are ready before the fallout settles.
Thank you, Rakia. That talk was straight fire.
Another trivia question and another opportunity for you in the audience to win a prize.
All right, what technology do Livermore robots often use for navigation and mapping? Is it A, infrared beacons, B, sonar, C, visual odometry, or D, LiDAR?
Got a hand up over here first. LiDAR.
That is
correct, yeah.
Yes, LiDAR, or light detection and ranging, another acronym. We didn't invent that one though, I don't think. Is used to measure distances to objects and provide information about the shape and their surface characteristics.
And if you were at last year's SLAM, you might remember Mateo, who uses LiDAR to measure the wind.
That's true. All right, up next, we have Connor Holiski, who is fishing for new answers to unexpected problems. Please welcome him on stage for his presentation, Harvesting Hope, How Nuclear Security Fuels Medical Breakthroughs.
Imagine if the strength of our nation began not with force, but with knowledge. Not in a boardroom or a bunker, but in a lab where particles race towards discovery. Here at the lab, in collaboration with the Facility for Rare Isotope Beams, we create isotopes. Think of these as different versions of elements, each with their own number of neutrons. Why do we create them? Because these isotopes help us fill in critical gaps in our nuclear data knowledge. They sharpen the computer models we use to prepare, predict, and protect our nation's nuclear stockpile. That's scientific discovery in the service of nuclear security. And it all starts here, with our race towards knowledge and a beam of particles. We can create isotopes by firing particle beams into water, which break apart and form new radioactive atoms like selenium. As selenium decays, it transforms into another element called arsenic. We need high-purity arsenic to improve the nuclear data that makes sure our stockpile remains safe and reliable. The first part of my job is to harvest or fish out these radioactive atoms. The second, but trickier part of my job is to separate arsenic from selenium. Because while arsenic exists in just one chemical form, selenium exists in two. Trying to separate selenium's two forms is like playing a game of Guess Who, with identical twins that keep swapping outfits. You'll need more than a quick glance to figure out who's who. To outsmart this molecular masquerade, I had to get creative. I used tiny glass beads coated with sulfur. Think of these as microscopic fishing nets that catch the selenium and don't let go. This lets me harvest selenium efficiently and separate out high-purity arsenic. But here's the twist. While I was searching for answers in nuclear security, I was also opening the door to medical miracles. That's the ripple effect of science, where solving one problem can unlock solutions to others. Take arsenic. It's not only a tool for national security, but also a powerful resource in nuclear medicine, enabling advanced cancer treatments and medical imaging. Because of my new separation techniques, I enable higher purity and safer arsenic faster than ever before. That means better scans and more effective therapies for patients. When we invest in national security research, the work we do today to keep our nation safe could become the breakthrough that saves a life tomorrow. That's the ripple, from protecting our nation to healing our people, reminding us that the impact is human at every level. That's the hope we're harvesting. Imagine what we can harvest next.
Thank you, Connor. We can't wait to see what else nuclear science can solve.
Yeah, so now let's continue with the Olympics theme of the 2024 Research Slam.
Adi, Weedy,
What
are you doing here?
Well, the better question is, what are you guys doing here right now?
I mean, like we're hosting this year's Research Slam.
No. You don't seem to have the SLAM gold medal, so I don't see that being right.
Well, I don't really know what's happening here, but maybe you guys can help us improve our performance in the second half of the show?
Yeah, so like, what did you guys learn as SLAM contestants that you brought to the stage as MCs?
I think transition is a big part. So you talk from one idea to the next, or from one contestant to the next as MCs, or from one mic to the other. But I guess now from the original MCs to the next ones.
Yeah, for me, like many of us, I am a nervous speed talker. So from my SLAM experience, I learned that I need to take a breath, slow down, pause, and
Say some words, maybe?
Gotta pause, but.
exactly, to prove my point.
As someone who's a bit of a slow talker, I think we could meet in the middle and learn something from each other. So what did you guys find the most difficult about being MCs that you didn't expect to be difficult?
I don't think I'm really funny, so.
That's not true.
when people actually find me funny, I just froze.
Oh, that's a great answer. Mine's not going to be as great. For me, maybe you can relate. It was unexpectedly hard to smile and nod, especially in the filler events like this, when you are thinking that the time is running out, and why are these people still on the stage? They shouldn't be on. So maybe you can relate.
It's true. Please get off stage.
Thank you so much, Adi and Weedy. We're looking forward to our performance review being posted in Workforce Navigator right after the slam.
All right, so our next presenter is going to tell us about how a star is born. Please welcome to the stage Bradley Cooper, who's going to be telling us about Lady Gaga? Sorry, wrong stars. Please welcome Rahul Jain, who will tell us about how stars in the sky are born.
What do you think happens after we die? Some people believe in rebirth, the soul moving from one body to the next. For humans, that's uncertain. But for stars, it's a fact. Stars die in massive explosions, and their ashes form new stars. Even our sun was born from such remains. But how long did it take to recycle star stuff? 1,000 years? Or millions? This isn't just trivia. Rather, an important missing piece of our cosmic history. This timeline reveals not just when the solar system formed, but how quickly conditions for life itself came together. So, how to measure this time? It can be estimated using a radioactive element called hafnium-182. It is created in exploding stars and slowly decays over time, like a ticking clock. And since we know the rate of its decay, what's needed is the amount that is initially produced and how much of it survives the decay process. By analyzing meteorites, the leftover rocks from where our sun was born, we already know how much hafnium survived the decay process. But the real challenge is in figuring out how much was initially created in the explosion. And this depends on a key nuclear reaction, neutron capture on a different, lighter version of hafnium. This reaction is extremely challenging to measure. In fact, it's never been done before. But thankfully, at Livermore, we are pioneering a brand new experimental technique to finally measure this reaction. And this new technique will not only help astrophysics, but also allow us to measure other nuclear reactions that are important to our national security mission. And I'm leading the experimental design and the data analysis for these experiments. Every few months, I travel to an experimental user facility to perform these measurements. And back at Livermore, I analyze the data using powerful supercomputers. Finally, by knowing the amount of hafnium that is created in exploding stars, we can now time the entire cosmic chain of events and know how long it took for the death of one star to give rise to the next one, and eventually to us. Stars may die, but just like the idea of rebirth, their story continues. And my research is helping us figure out exactly how that story unfolds.
Great job, Rahul. I think your star power was born in exactly 3 minutes, so right on time.
All right, let's see if it takes you less than 3 minutes to answer our next trivia question.
What was the name of the lab when we landed on the moon in 1969? Was it A, Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, B, Lawrence Livermore Laboratory, C, Lawrence Radiation Laboratory, or D, the University of California Radiation Laboratory Livermore branch? And hand up here in the middle somewhere.
Finger. Are you still confident because you brought it down? You want to go? Which one is it? C is correct. Yes. Lawrence Radiation Laboratory. Fantastic. So, you know, Claire, I've been thinking about changing my name recently as well.
Oh, really? What are you thinking about changing it to?
I was thinking the scientist formerly known as Nicholas.
Nice. I like that. And maybe you could have some sort of catchy symbol to go along with it when people get tired of saying such a long name.
It's true. Maybe I could have just like N-I and then put a little box around it.
I like that. Maybe a number in the top corner too.
Yeah, my age. I can change it every year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I can do one where it's CL with a box around it too to match. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Alrighty.
Uh-oh. Biology's back to attack us again. But I think our next presenter can help. Please welcome Gregory Lum to tell us about cities under siege, tracking lung infections cell by cell.
Did you know your lungs are like a city? Now imagine a bustling city at dawn, roads forming a network, city blocks guiding traffic, security teams on alert. That's your lung, a living, breathing city made up of millions of cells, all working together to keep you safe and alive. But what happens if that city is invaded by bacteria, viruses, fungi? Panic spreads and alarms blare. Who acts first? Who calls for help? And importantly, how does the whole city respond? COVID-19 showed us what happens when these defenses fail, a stark reminder of how high the stakes really are. Yet, most lung research still happens in flat, artificial models, or in animals that don't cough like us, breathe like us, or even get sick like us. That's like trying to study city traffic with a toy car on a table. You miss the highways, the intersections, the complexity of the city. So, I'm building a better model, a high-throughput system that shows cell by cell how real human lungs respond to infection and where those responses overlap. I take tiny, living slices of real human lung tissue. Each slice is a little city with its own airways, blood vessels, and even immune defenders. I infect these slices with different threats, then use a powerful tool, single-cell RNA sequencing, to listen in on every single cell to ask, who acts first, who calls the neighbors, and what response pathways light up no matter the intruder. And here's the best part. I can do this at scale. Dozens of lung slices, multiple infections, all in parallel. Each slice is a miniaturized human lung infection experiment. I generate single-cell RNA sequencing data from each of these infection experiments to uncover the body's response pathways and alarm signals. I use this knowledge to build new therapies that don't just treat one invader, but protect the entire city from the next outbreak. And with this new model, we don't just watch the invasion. We track the response, and we construct the master defense to protect the whole city, your lungs, from any future threat.
Thanks, Gregory. I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief now.
Let's welcome another talent up to stage. We have Jimmy Kingston here, who is a 6th-year PhD student at the University of California, Davis, who's also been working in the Nuclear and Chemical Sciences Division at Livermore for the past 4 years doing some research. When he's not doing science, he's solving Rubik's Cubes.
And he's not just solving them, he's solving them really fast. So, Jimmy, come on up stage and let's see how fast you can solve a Rubik's Cube. All right, so under this, we have a pre-scrambled cube, and we're gonna give him about 15 seconds to analyze it. And so he can turn it around, but he can't actually make any moves, and so he has to plan everything and memorize what he's going to do. And when he's ready, then he'll put his hands on the mat. And
hands are down.
Go for it. Look at him go. See, this is the fun part because we can make it as stressful as we want for him. And normally he says he can do it a lot faster than this, but I only see like two colors that are right next to each other right now. But and when he did it before, it was a little bit faster.
Oh, we're getting close though. We're killing it.
Oh,
we got
gosh,
one side
so
done,
close.
one side done. Nice. Woo! Great job.
22.561 seconds exactly. I don't know what the plus or minus
fast.
is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, if you're interested in learning more about Jimmy and his speed cubing journey, please find his article in Spotlight that you can get on Lab Portal or my LLNL. So thanks again, Jimmy. Our next contestant is shaking things up with her research. Please welcome Louisa Barama to tell us about Quake or Boom, harnessing scattered energy for a safer world.
Earthquakes are one of the most impactful natural disasters worldwide. Maybe shaking woke you up this Monday, or you may remember serious concern not too long ago of a potential tsunami caused by a distant earthquake in Russia. A reminder that even distant earthquakes can have far-reaching effects into our lives. That's why monitoring earthquakes is a top priority for scientists called seismologists, characterizing earthquakes by measuring their size, energy, and type, guides disaster response teams, and keeps communities prepared. But seismology isn't just about natural earthquakes. By analyzing how the ground moves, we can detect not-so-natural disasters. Did the Earth slip, or did it explode? Each event leaves a unique signature. To detect these signatures, seismic stations measure how the ground moves in response to a passing wave of energy. You can think of ripples after throwing a stone in a pond. Traditionally, we use those direct waves, the first ripples, to characterize the event. But seismic data is complex. It's a combination of the energy released, the path it travels through the Earth, and the instrument that records it on the surface. It's challenging to separate these parts, which can affect our measurements, especially for smaller and smaller events. So how do we reliably characterize events without clear ripples? Coda, the lingering, scattered energy that arrives after the direct waves, is messy and often ignored. But my group turns coda into valuable data. You could say one seismologist's noise is our treasure. Coda is like the ringing you hear in a concert hall after the music has stopped. It's all the echoes, reverberations, and reflections unique to that space, like a fingerprint of scattered energy. Our challenge is to use this to tell you what music was played. Now, the concert hall becomes a section of Earth spanning the distance from Livermore to Los Angeles. I analyze coda from earthquakes and controlled experimental explosions, breaking it into different frequency bands, like separating music into bass and treble. This allows us to examine each part in detail and calculate the magnitude of earthquakes much smaller than traditional methods allow, and even identify explosions, something essential for international security that can also have long-reaching effects into the lives of all of us, regardless of whether we live in an active seismic zone or not. By decoding the energy beneath our feet, we help keep communities safer and better prepared for whatever shakes the ground next.
Great job, Louisa. I think I can still hear the reverberations of your talk going on.
I wonder if the reverb will count towards the contestants' timing or not.
I think we'll let our judges decide on that.
Sounds good. Until then, let's do another trivia question. So what does LIFT stand for, and what is its primary research focus? It's a new acronym.
Yeah. Hand up here, or we got...
I think over here was...
Yeah.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, LIFT stands for the Livermore Institute for Fusion Technology, and they focus on fusion energy and technology at the lab. And I hope that the mission of LIFT will continue to lift up fusion energy here in the future.
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have Jeremy Seidel, who is digging up some knowledge because he is mining with molecules using proteins for critical mineral separations.
Rare earth elements are essential to military technology, renewable energy, data centers, and, well, pretty much all of the modern technology you use every day. But 85% of rare earths are exported from just one nation, China. Without a domestic supply chain for these critical minerals, America's national security and prosperity are at risk. Fortunately, we're getting help from a tiny molecular machine forged by millions of years of evolution. Its name is lanmodulin, a protein with refined tastes and an insatiable appetite for rare earth elements. Now, the United States possesses many rare earth mineral deposits, so what's the problem? The real challenge lies in separations. For high-tech and defense applications, rare earths must be extremely pure, 99.9% or even higher. And these elements are physically and chemically nearly identical to one another, making them incredibly difficult to separate. Here at the lab, we're tackling this problem directly by developing a revolutionary process for rare earth extraction and separation. We use lanmodulin, a protein with unprecedented selectivity for rare earth metals. This protein is attached to solid beads and packed into a column for easy reuse. The ore is dissolved in acid, and the resulting solution is passed through the column to extract rare earths, leaving other metals behind. My work focuses on the next step in this process, recovering metals from the column. To this end, I've developed a theoretical model to predict protein-based metal separations, and I've performed thousands of precise quantitative experiments to validate this model. With this new understanding of lanmodulin, I formulated a precisely calibrated chemical solution for rare earth separation. You can think of this as our special sauce that brings out the unique flavor of each individual element. As this solution flows through the column, individual rare earths are recovered at 99.9% purity in a single step. This same separation requires hundreds of individual steps in China's rare earths refinery. We are now beginning to scale this tiny molecular machine to reclaim America's rare earths independence. To get here, we started at the scale of molecules and ions. We studied lanmodulin, learned to cater to its tastes, and performed an unprecedented separation. When you have big problems, it pays to think small.
Great stuff, Jeremy. You know, wow, using your critical mineral separation technique, I've also gotten something else critical, SLAM t-shirts. But what are we gonna do with them, Claire?
You know what? I wonder, audience, do you guys want some Research SLAM t-shirts?
Yeah!
Woo! Oh.
Who wants one? I see some hands over there.
Let's go, hands up, who wants some? Oh, so sorry. Never tried to throw in a dress before, and turns out it's a little hard. Let's see. Oh, right over Ephraim. Ooh. And one more in the center here. Yay! Thank you guys. I'm so sorry to the person that I almost beamed in the face there on accident. That was exciting. It was exciting and definitely high energy. And luckily, our next contestant will be able to tell us all about the energy in the room right now. Please welcome Nicholas Roth, who's talking about converting kinetic energy to fusion energy.
Fusion. It's the answer to the dream of having unlimited energy for everyone without greenhouse gas emissions and long-lived radioactive waste. Controlling and harnessing fusion has been sought after for decades, with all sorts of technologies that have one goal: net energy gain, to put power on the grid or to understand the conditions of thermonuclear detonation. The sun naturally produces this energy source by fusing hydrogen into helium. To see how we can do this ourselves, at the National Ignition Facility, we are creating our own miniature suns. In one of these experiments, the largest laser in the world fires and strikes a target the size of a pencil eraser. Inside that target is a capsule the size of a peppercorn that contains the hydrogen fuel. That capsule compresses down to the width of a single strand of human hair. A miniature sun is born and then explodes less than 100 trillionths of a second later. NIF is the only place in the world that has achieved fusion ignition. More energy out than in with the lasers. I am working with a team of scientists at the NIF to figure out how to produce more energy gain than anybody has ever seen in a controlled fusion experiment. In the first ignition experiment, we found evidence that when the miniature sun forms, some of the fusion is lost to kinetic energy, or motion. To make this little sun more round and stagnant, to increase the fusion production, we repointed some of the laser beams by 250 microns and compressed the capsule 10% harder on the poles early in time. To see if this strategy will work, I set up and ran some NIF experiments without the hydrogen fuel so that I could carefully measure the capsule shape right before the miniature sun forms. I found that the sun formation is more stable, and hydrodynamic simulations now predict an energy gain increase of 2 to 3 times more than the first ignition experiment. We will find out if this is true in a real NIF experiment next year and potentially surpass the current energy gain record. In the last 15 years, the NIF energy out has increased by about 10,000 times, and we continue to add to it to pursue our dream of a fusion energy future.
Powerful stuff, Nicholas.
Now it's time for our last trivia question of the day. Which phrase is not abbreviated as CA in Livermore's acronym dictionary? Is it A, causal analysis, B, certification agent, C, closed area, D, contract administrator, E, California, F, contract analyst, G, control account, or H, corrective action? Hand in the back there. C? Ooh, close, but not quite. Sorry? E, California?
That is correct. Yes, every single other answer is in the acronym dictionary.
Yeah. We'll get our home state in there someday, somehow. We can always add another, so. Gosh, Nicholas, I'm really getting hungry. Do you know if we have enough time to maybe order some food before the slam ends?
I'm not sure, but maybe our final presenter can tell us if we can. Please welcome to the stage Keegan Orr, who'll be telling us about how lasers can help you deliver a pizza anywhere in under 20 minutes.
If you want to deliver a pizza anywhere in the world in under 20 minutes, the pizza's got to go really, really fast. You might wonder how fast. Probably 5, 6, 7 times the speed of sound. If something goes that fast, that's called hypersonic. So if we want to make a hypersonic pizza delivery vehicle, we're going to need some new materials. But you might wonder, haven't we gone that fast before? Like when capsules carrying astronauts re-enter the Earth's atmosphere? And we have. But that's when they go all the way up into space and fall all the way back down, briefly punching through the atmosphere. And while that's a fast way to deliver a pizza, everybody knows where that pizza's going. And if you were really hungry, you could intercept that pizza. Instead, our vehicle will go into space just for a moment, briefly falling back down into the atmosphere at hypersonic speed, and instead of punching through the atmosphere, it's going to stay there, maintaining that speed, cruising around the world. This will allow our pizza to travel undetected and make unpredictable maneuvers, so it can't be intercepted. Now, when you do that, the surface of the vehicle will be subjected to a lot of really extreme conditions, more extreme than those re-entry capsules. You're going to have high heating from friction. You're going to have plasmas forming from shock waves. And if we don't want to deliver a burnt pizza, then we're going to need some new materials, and that will require some new science. Here at the lab, we have built a hypersonic wind tunnel. Material scientists and engineers can put new samples of new materials into the wind tunnel, and then we'll heat them up using powerful lasers to temperatures relevant to our pizza delivery vehicle. When you heat something up to these crazy high temperatures, then you flow gases over it that quickly, it'll start to fall apart. It may ablate. It could vaporize. You can have all kinds of chemistry occurring and gases forming on the sample surface. These material scientists and engineers, they'd really like to know exactly how fast, where, and what is coming off of their samples. That's where I come in, with another laser. With the right color of laser, those gases will absorb some of the light and then fluoresce, re-emitting the light at a different color. And I can take high-speed cameras, capture that re-emitted light, and get real-time information about exactly how fast, where, and what came off of their samples. And so, with our hypersonic wind tunnel and our lasers, we're able to help material scientists and engineers invent new materials so that we can build a vehicle capable of delivering a pizza anywhere in the world in under 20 minutes.
Great job, Keegan. You know, wasn't there a movie about like whether there's a company that said they could deliver a pizza anywhere in like 30 minutes or less?
Oh yeah, there was. It was called 30 Minutes or Less, starring Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Didn't he have to be like a Avenger or something like that to pull it all off?
Nope. All they had to be was a Livermore staff scientist.
Oh, of course. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give our finalists one last big round of applause. Thank you. So, as a reminder, this is the last time you'll hear this today. The top 3 finalists today will be participating in the Bay Area SLAM in about a month from now in Berkeley against the top 3 contestants from Berkeley Lab, SLAC, and Sandia Livermore. And the winner for today will be going to Washington, D.C. in the spring to compete against the other 16 national labs in the final part of their path in the National SLAM in spring of 2026. For this past year, I was a contestant in the one that happened in March of this year, and so they made a nice little highlight video featuring many of us from that competition. So we'd like to play it for you today to show what the contestants have to look forward to in the spring. Roll the tape.
These are our incredible 17 contestants from our 17 labs. And they'll be giving a 3-minute talk tomorrow for a non-specialist audience, competing in 4 categories for best presentation, and then it will be a People's Choice Award.
I'm Olivia. I'm a biophysicist at Los Alamos National Labs, and I've designed a vaccine for the plague, which is very New Mexico relevant to ranchers like my family, and it could be an upcoming world biothreat.
I wanted to be a scientist since I was a very little girl, and here I am on the national stage, and it just feels big.
I think the National Research SLAM is special because it's really the top pitches that have been gathered from all the different labs around the country.
Normally when you're in your singular national lab, you're really focused on the type of research that your lab does, where the SLAM kind of exposes everyone to all the different types of research that's going on.
Where the threshold is so high, where the bar is so high that you suddenly your level boosts up.
You have so many representations from different backgrounds, everything you can think of.
I cannot stress this enough. It's nice to see a lot of excited young people. In our lab, do a lot of not so many young people. So.
And we are pretty much all early career scientists, so we have a lot of things to talk about career-wise.
It's inspired me to frame my science communications in ways I've never thought of before. It's inspiring to be near the Hill, talking to different policymakers.
So I'm sort of curious, what's the direction for fundamental research?
Sometimes in research, you're going to get a surprise. And I think some of our greatest scientific discoveries are yet to be found even that way.
We are trying to see if we could use electrochemical signals to help speed up the development of new batteries.
Thank you for representing your national labs so well. I will continue to fund those. Really, I do think our national labs are our national treasures.
We want to make sure that we are a science superpower of the world. And to do that, we really should be focusing on funding the research that pushes us there.
This is a wonderful opportunity for us to showcase our research to the public and to our government to demonstrate just exactly how important the research is at the national laboratories.
How can I speak to my mom or my dad so that they know what I'm doing in the lab is relevant and they have hope for the future?
We have an obligation to share our science with the world, which is really, I think, the most important and impactful thing you can do as a scientist.
The world is becoming electrified.
Technologies like those presented here today would have never been possible without the fundamental research that came first.
Our daily lives completely depend on electricity, yet we rarely think about how it gets to us.
What if we target its core, the part of the bacteria that stays the same no matter how much it evolves?
Ultimately winning in my category. I think it wouldn't be possible without the input of the 16 other participants.
It means so much. I'm really honored to be able to share my research with so many people.
I think it's a celebration. Winning for me is a celebration, not just from me. I think it's a celebration for all 17 national labs.
And last but not least, the People's Choice Award is Dr. Olivia Pimentel.
If I could go back in time and tell young Olivia what has happened today, man, it would be a big deal.
No pressure, finalists. As our judges adjourn to decide the top 3 finalists today, it's now time for you all to vote. In your programs, you'll find a ballot for the People's Choice Award winners. Please go ahead and take a pen and mark very clearly next to the name of the presentation that you enjoyed the most today. And as you head next door to West Cafe for refreshments afterwards, please drop them in boxes that you'll see along the exits.
And of course, this entire event would not have been possible without the fantastic people in the Academic Engagement Office. So we'd like to thank a big thank you to Eric Schwegler, Ted Bauman, Christine Zachow, Stephanie Terza, and where did Michelle go? Is she running away from her flowers? Get up here.
Yeah. I guess we'll do flowers for Michelle next door. She ran away from us too fast, but yeah. Thank you so much to all of you for being here, and on behalf of the Academic Engagement Office, thank you so much, and we hope to see you all next year.